Hey everybody, how are y'all doing today? My name is Eric Anderson and I'm welcoming you here to the Bass and Triads channel on YouTube. This is actually like my first real legitimate video with the Bass and Triads series. And all I'm going to do today more than anything is give you a quick overview of what this channel is about and what I'm going to try to do with the fashionable bass guitar. So these are the things that I'm gonna cover, right? First of all, I find music theory extremely fascinating until musicians get a hold of it. Then they kind of go along and they kind of screw everything up and make it difficult to understand. Once I talk about that a little bit, then I'm going to share with you what I intend to do with this channel and how I intend to distill music theory down to its most basic fundamental elements that have made it extremely easy for me to understand chord structure, triads, all that other kind of cool stuff, as well as rhythms, and we'll get into that too. And then finally, I'm just going to let you know about how I'm going to go about this, which is using a bass, and give you just a few details on that. So as I launch into this, I'm going to ask you a lot, just because I need the help, to be honest with you. If you find this content useful, if you find it beneficial, definitely please subscribe, hit the like switch down below, tell your friends about it. By the end of this video, you will understand that this is not about the bass as much as it is about music theory. But with all that being said, let me get into what really inspired me to get going on this whole thing. So like I said, the musicians have this amazing ability to complicate music, specifically music theory, in such a way that those who are interested in music but don't understand the language of music get filtered out real quick because of the amount of information that's out there and how overwhelmingly difficult it sounds. And honestly, I'm going to say that overeducated musicians are the biggest cause of that. And I kind of want to break that down. I want to break away from that and just get into the fundamentals and stick with the fundamentals of starting off with chord structure, triads, scales, and things like that. So that's honestly what I intend to do. And the way that I'm going to do it is that I'm going to distill it down to those basic parts, the basics, or the foundation that all this music theory stuff is built on. And I'm going to stay away from all the complicated words and just going to keep it simple. So like here's like the big thing to catch. In any given key signature, and we'll get into that stuff in good time, you only have 7 notes that you really need to be concerned with. And that's it. So, and all these other ideas about chords and triads and sevenths and ninths and all this other kind of stuff, it's all based on the scale, and it's all based really it's just based on those 7 notes in the scale, and we're going to break that down. So the idea is this, right? What I intend to do is to use the bass to help us understand all this music theory stuff and the way that it works. And the reason I'm using the bass, and it's one of the things that's fascinated me about the bass, is that it is what I refer to as a very pattern-centric instrument. And what I mean by that is, like, I'm going to play the C major scale just up and back 1 octave. And what's really cool is if you pay really close attention to my fingers starting out here at the 8th fret, and the notes are just C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and then back B, A, G, F, E, D, C. So it's slow, it's kind of boring, and I get that. But what's interesting is this. What I mean by a pattern-centric instrument is that once you get this major scale pattern working in the key of C, which is where we played in, you can literally move that same fingering pattern to any position on the bass, and what you get is a major scale and a different key signature. So what I'm going to do now, and I'm going to go a little bit faster, is I'm going to do the C major scale up and then back, and then I'm just going to slide one fret to the left, and I'm going to follow the exact same finger pattern up and back, and then I'll go one more time to the left, and you'll see that even though the finger pattern doesn't change, the pitch, the note's pitches change. So starting here at C, it just goes, yeah, let me try that again. And if I wanted, I could keep going on and on and on until I get all the way down here to this first fret, and then rely on the open strings where necessary. But if you paid close attention, you'll notice that my fingers did not change the patterns that they followed. All that I did was reposition my hand, which makes music theory on the bass really easy to learn, because for this one reason. We work with these 7 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we get really comfortable with that, and then it just repeats itself, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're still dealing with the same notes, just an octave above. But once you understand any particular concept on bass in any given key signature, any set of 7 notes, that immediately translates to all the other key signatures. So that's really why the bass is being used, is that it's such a pattern-centric instrument that it just makes it a lot easier to learn a concept and then quickly apply it to any other key signature that you need to play on the bass. The piano, as an example, is a really good example. For every key signature that you need to learn your scales in, you need to learn a different fingering pattern. There's no 2 key signatures that are identical on the piano. So you actually have to go through and learn 15 different major scale patterns. And then you have to learn, if you want to go through their modes, and we'll get into that stuff, then you have to learn fingering patterns for all that. But with the bass, once you've got the fingering pattern in one key signature, it works the same in all. Same thing as with the triads. Like if I were just to play a C followed by an F triad followed by a D triad, but if you pay close attention to my fingers, they literally are going to follow the same finger pattern now to the F. Notice how my fingering pattern doesn't change, just the position on the bass or the fret that I'm playing and the string that I'm playing is the only thing that's changed. There it is, right? So that's why I want to use the bass, because it's just, to me, it's an amazing instrument because of how pattern centric it is. And so I want to share this with you. Okay, I started out playing drums, and I still play drums, and I have a lot of fun with them. But what I'm loving about the bass and what I'm having fun with it is how pattern centric it is. So as I get more comfortable with the different patterns that I discover on bass, I play whatever I play. But so I say that for this reason, and I just want you to know, I am not a bass player by any stretch of the imagination, but I do have a lot of fun playing around with the bass. I might use some fingering patterns or some strumming and rhythm patterns in my right hand that might seem a little bit odd to those people that profess to be bass players, and good on you. I'm not going to try to take your opinion away from you. This is just the way that I put things together, and it's what works for me. What I love about the bass, the guitar, really any musical instrument, is there's only so many places you can go on the instrument to get, you know, like this particular C. Well, I can get it here, or I can get it here, or I can, that's the open string. I guess that's as deep as it goes. There it is, and way up here, right? But which one of my fingers I want to use to get that pitch, that's kind of what I get to pick. So a lot of it just depends on where that note lines up in the context of the song and in the context of a triad. So I'm big on the idea that because I have choices, let me develop my own style and my own approach for playing, and we'll see what happens. So if it seems a little bit whacked, well, don't be surprised, because I never claimed to be a bass player. I'm just somebody who's enthusiastic about bass and music theory, because the bass really kind of helps me understand music theory a lot better. So that's really it right there. If you're frustrated with music theory, let me back that up. If you're frustrated because you have a hard time understanding music theory, I would ask that you just stick with me, and just because I'm going to do everything I can just to distill ideas down to just 7 notes. That's it. If you can just get 7 notes and understand how chords and how scales and everything works in the context of just 7 notes, then what you learn in one key signature immediately applies to all of them. I don't want to get into all the complex language. I'm going to try to keep that as fundamental as possible, and yet at the same time still use the language of music theory to help you understand it, so that when other people talk about it, you can hear it, you have an idea of what's going on. Along with that, like I said, I'm going to use the bass. Most likely I'm going to be on a 6-string bass quite a bit, just because I'm having fun with it. But I like to use the bass because it's such a pattern-centric instrument that once you see the concept in one key signature on bass, you can instantaneously apply this to every other key signature and get the exact same results. I was talking with a student of mine, and we were going through this stuff, and he's trying to absorb all this information, and then he goes to YouTube and Google, and he starts looking around for more information, and then he comes in and he's a little bit overwhelmed by all this information that he's throwing at him. So last time we were together, I asked him, what kind of a truck do you drive? And he told me what it was, and I said, okay, so imagine that a key signature is nothing more than the truck, and that what you have is 15 trucks that are identical to the one that you drive. They're identical, the same motor, same wheels, same sound system. Everything is identical except the color of the truck. That is the only thing that is different, is just the color. And then I asked him, if you had that scenario where you had 15 trucks and they were identical with the exception of color, how easy would it be to drive the 7th truck after you've learned to drive the first one? He's like, well, it would be a breeze. And it's like, that's my point. That's how music theory works. Get it in one key signature. We're going to start off in the key of C, all the white keys on the piano. Not because I think C is the best. It's just, it's a great way to learn. And once you got it, you can take this and you can apply it to every other key signature. And these ideas, these principles of music theory are going to equally work out in every single key signature. So again, my friends, that's what we're doing. We're boiling this down, 7 notes. That's it. We're going to work in the context of 7 notes that will repeat themselves octave by octave by octave. But fundamentally, it's 7 notes, and everything is going to be built on that, and that's what we're going to break down. So again, if this is of interest to you, please tune in. Definitely please subscribe. That way when I post new material up, you are going to be able to take a look at it without a problem. Please share this with your friends. If you got other people that just are baffled by music theory, have them check this out. We will get into just the music theory side of things, and I will use the bass guitar to demonstrate how the music theory stuff works. So that, my friends, is my rumor. I am sticking to it. My name is Eric Anderson. I am finishing off this first episode of on the Bass and Triad channel. I'm definitely excited about this. This has been something that's fascinated me for a long time, and I'm very excited that I can actually share it with people and hopefully distill it down to where it makes it so easy that even a drummer can understand it, like me, right? So that, my friends, is my rumor. I'm sticking to it, and I will see you on the next video. All right? Bye-bye.